What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Cool Colas here, and you're tuning in to another cool video. So, my topic today is interesting, just like every topic, but it's a little controversial because a lot of people don't want to go into this water too much, but I'm going to, and I think it's really important that it's addressed from just the standpoint of being a black man, from being a black writer, and just from everything that I stand for and everything that I believe. So the topic that I want to talk to y'all today about is my feelings on if you are a white writer and you have a black main character or write about a black main character. I want to talk about what I think about that subject matter and how I feel about the whole thing. So, this topic kind of came to fruition, or at least the idea of wanting to make this video came to fruition from this post that I saw on Facebook. And it was from a Facebook group that I follow for black writers. And the topic was that there was a white person who was a writer and they had a black main character and they were asking their audience if this was an issue. I want to read to you what it says here first, and then I want to kind of dive a little bit into my feelings on it and what I think about the entire thing. So let me just pull it real quick and we can talk about it. So this is what they said. I'm going to try to go through this quickly just for the sake of time. My main character is black and I'm a white writer. Is this an issue? I'm writing a novel in third person and initially have the main character as mixed race. They are the main character and the third person perspective is mainly told with them as such. But after chapter 15, the story will bounce between two characters' perspectives in parts. I asked my friends who are black and asked their advice, and they said it should be fine as long as I do a lot for research and they are going to read what I write to help me and pick up on anything that might need changing. The reasoning behind the character is their white grandmother washes up ashore. I don't know where yet because my novel is fantasy, so it won't be real places, and stays there. She marries a black man and has a child who later has the main character with another black character. One of my friends has said that while she would be a mixed race, she would appear more black and should be written as such, since she would only have one white relative that is not apparent. I'm working on researching for my character, but I'm still wondering if this would be a problem for my novel later on in terms of reader feedback, etc. Please be honest with me and feel free to ask questions. Thank you. So, this is what I got from the post. This is what the post basically said. Now, let me tell you what I thought. I actually commented on this, and I'll kind of share what I actually said as a comment there. And this is something that I feel needs to be addressed because it doesn't get addressed too often. So, just my 2 cents. The first disclaimer that I want to put out there is I don't necessarily care about a white writer having a black main character when race isn't the focus or there aren't race-related issues. So in other words, if a white writer just had a black main character and they were talking about the black character just being in space and they were fighting aliens or whatever their situation is, that's them. So that's okay. Now, mind you, I want to also say this from the perspective of white people can do absolutely whatever they want. It's not my business. And realistically, like, I'm not necessarily focused on what white people do. I'm focused on what we as black people do and how we help ourselves. So, first of all, this topic is, I just want to say this video right here is not for the sakes of me saying I care what white people think and even what white people do. I'm just giving my stance on letting you all know like where I stand as far as from just a diversity standpoint and just from a representation standpoint, like what I think about the whole subject matter. I just thought it would be an interesting, topic to kind of touch on. So just ignoring the fact that, a white person can do whatever they want. That's how I feel. Ignoring the fact that I don't necessarily see a problem with them having a black character, just given what I'm saying, there are some things to consider here. So first of all, by even bringing up the character's race and asking if it's okay, you've already made race an issue, in my opinion. You've already like brought race into the equation, even if like race wasn't a big thing there. So even if your story was about an alien going into space, or a black person going to space and killing an alien, or a black person who is a mage and they have magic powers, but like you're not focusing on the fact that they're a black person, then like that's what it is. But I think that what the issue is bringing up like the character's race and trying to insert yourself into this equation of almost, I want to be race conscious as a white person. So if I'm writing this like main character, and they're black, I want to make sure that I'm okay and that like, you know, I don't get any flack for it. Which my thing is, if you're a white writer and you're in this world right now and you're trying to create representation, you're already putting yourself into that field because of like what has happened so much as far as representation. I got to keep saying that because people love to talk about this representation crap like it matters for like from when white writers like write about us, or black writers who don't have knowledge of self write about us. They love to kind of talk about this, but to me, this is not really important. So I'm just trying to give another perspective. I feel that it's already been made to be an issue if race has already been brought up. Like, because my thing is, if it wasn't that serious, if it wasn't that big of a deal and the character would just happen to be black, then there's nothing to really discuss or really to talk about. The second thing is, I don't really care for this black spokespersonism. I don't care for this idea of I asked my black friend who is going to potentially speak on behalf of black people, or at least give me the okay that I can write about black people as long as I research. And my thing is, I don't even know the mindset and the mentality of this black friend, but I can really just surmise that if you have a black friend and you're a white person, they probably already believe in some level of diversity or some level of multiculturalism or some level of my friends are my friends because you called them a friend. My friends are white, so I believe that they probably could do us justice because, like, to me, I think for them to even answer that question signifies that they have some type of like belief that this white person could do good as far as representation or whatever you want to call it for a black person. So I don't like the spokespersonism, like this black person speaks on behalf of black people, and or just this idea that they're okay with that being a thing even if they're not doing it on purpose. That's the next thing that kind of bothers me from like a black person standpoint. I look at it and I say, well, I mean, like, you know, it's not up to me as a black person to really answer those questions for you. If you decide that you want to write about a black character, you got to take all the heat. You got to take all that heat from what you might get. Like, stop trying to dip into the black community and write black stories and things like that and expect that, you know, you can get the, hey, I'm not a racist card because you got a check mark, like, checked off from like black people. So that's the next thing that I would say is, I think that he would be satisfied with being given an answer from a black person. Also, too, there are so many black authors out there. And so I feel like instead of trying to create representation, because obviously you focused on race, the biggest thing is I think that there's a lack of focus on the fact that there are so many black writers that are out there with black stories creating their own representation and creating their own like narratives and tailoring it the way that they want to, that why not support them instead of trying to create your own? Because what you do is when you do that, you and you're a white person, you do that, you're actually allowing yourself to say, hey, I can put whatever narratives about black people I want out there and pull whatever narratives that I want to away as well too, even if it's very helpful to the community and things that they should know. Prime example of that is the American Gods Mr. Nancy situation, where like they had the issue with Orlando Jones, and then they basically like didn't like what they felt that the character represented for black culture or whatever the situation was, and they basically kind of like fired him. And there were all these issues, and they even got like the dude who played Shadow Moon's ass to basically like co-sign with them, like he was like the token black dude. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is that like I think that there's an issue there with not seeing the big picture of like black people who are already creating these stories and supporting them, and then like dealing with your own people, writing your own white stories, and continuing to write about white characters. So in other words, I think that there's like this big diversity train, this big train of I got to write about all people or people of color and show that I am an ally as a white person. I think that there's a lot of that, and I want to be able to do that in the right way, when really the right way is to basically deal with your own people if you really want to write a right way as a white person. So that's the next thing I would say. The last point that I would say is I fear this trend of trauma sauce that I keep seeing in writing, in media, in everything when black stories are being created. I feel like white people are attracted, and I think they're making black people like say yay to this every time, is they're attracted to basically telling stories of trauma, telling about how we got brutalized by police, talking about how we were slaves, talking about how somebody beat us down. Like they love like trying to reaffirm these stories over and over again in order to show that they are concerned for what like they actually care, or to basically fulfill a diversity quota so they don't seem like a racist, or this idea that they actually can be an ally, which subconsciously actually reinforces trauma from a place of unawareness. And to me, this is all very like loaded, but I see this so much. I can't even turn on my favorite shows anymore without seeing at least 5 episodes of that show that I wait for each week to talk about how somebody got brutalized by the police, and they're like, why do we always go through this? Somebody needs to do something about this. And they have one character that's in an interracial relationship, and then they're trying to figure out, they're going to the white person and they're in the relationship with, and they're saying, well, like why do you think like this? Why are you like this? You know, why would you treat, you know, why do your people treat our people like this? And yes, I'm talking about Queen Sugar for anybody who's hearing this and they're like, you might be talking about a certain show. I love Queen Sugar, by the way, so there's no like slander. I really do love the show. I think the show is awesome, and for like the 4 seasons, I thought it was dope. But there's this last episode I just saw, and I was like, the trauma sauce is way too heavy. It's like it's like basically like you get fries and like you're trying to pour a little bit of salt on your food, on your fries, and then like you accidentally see that the shaker is not, like the cap on the shaker is not twisted all the way on, so all the salt just falls on the fries. That's how I felt about the trauma sauce in this episode. It was ridiculous. But I see the trauma sauce a lot in a lot of shows, and it's kind of annoying to me, because when I come home, I want to see a good show that's entertaining and interesting, that's telling like a really cool story. But every single time, I feel like white writers can't just help, white writers or black people who feed into the crap like can't help themselves but to continue to put out trauma sauce because they think they're putting out awareness. But my thing is like, there's an issue of discernment here. Awareness to who? How much awareness do we need at this point? Why is there not a whole lot of action being taken? So those are kind of like the questions there. Action being taken, obviously that can be broken down too. So I don't want to like that to be chopped up, because I can talk about that, what action needs to be taken in a whole nother video, but I don't want to do it in this one because I could take way too long. Anyway, so yeah, those are just my 2 cents on that particular topic, and what I think about that. Personally, to me, like it's whatever. I feel like, you know, I'm more focused on black people telling authentic black stories than I am about what other white people are doing with their stories. But I just thought I would fill in what I felt about that topic specifically, and what I thought, you know, like about like that type of situation, and how I feel like it should be handled, and what the problems that I see with that are. So I don't know, just my 2 cents again. I think it's just things to consider, especially if you have a different perspective than mine. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all enjoyed what I had to say. If you want to follow me on any of my social networks, you can follow me at Colas Creative, either on my Twitter or on my Instagram. You can follow me at Cool Colas Author on my Facebook, or you can go to creativecolas.com and you can look at all the posts that I have to offer there, because I have a lot of stuff to come and a lot of interesting things to talk about. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this once again. I have a lot more to come in the coming weeks, and I will be talking to you soon. On that note, I hope y'all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.